You are watching a master at work. Libo down.
I swear to God, there's this thing called like bad YouTuber curse or something. Whenever I'm just playing by myself and doing whatever it was I was doing, I have like really cool moments where I'm like, oh man, I wish I was recording that. But the moment I turn my recording on, yeah, you will see some of the worst gameplay you have ever seen in this video. But luckily we're going to cover it up with spreadsheets. Hopefully new, less shiny spreadsheets, because a few of you have been saying that, yeah, it really is absolute eye cancer. Can you tone it down a bit? I didn't know it was that bad because of how colorblind I am, so I got the wife in, and hopefully new shiny spreadsheet or new less shiny spreadsheet is an improvement. But yeah, anyway, in this video, because a lot of people have been asking, well, how do the named ARs hold up? And due to the overwhelming positive response of that video, I thought, screw it, it's only like, what, 10 weapons? Manic, Invisible Hand, Shield Splinterer, Burnout, Savage Wolverine, Pyromaniac, Glory Days, Mechanical Animal, Test Subject, Kingbreaker, Rouse Splitter. So 11 weapons. And just because I'm not going to compare it to all of the ARs and put them in one large list, I've got a FAMAS with no talent and a FAMAS with killer on as like their DPS comparison. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I'm just going to be doing one blanket build across all of them, which is kind of unfair on the weapons because that's not how they're going to operate. For example, Kingbreaker, I have it on a perfect large cannon build, 3-piece Providence, Grupo holster, contractors, foxes, 60% crit chance, 176 crit damage. You will typically not have this. You'll typically go for either a high-end spotter build or a Heartbreaker build with Kingbreaker. So it's kind of an unfair comparison, and I've done this for all of the weapons. So just to do a quick recap, this is the build, like I said, 3-piece Providence, the Gift, Sacrifice, Contractors, Foxes, Grupo Somber. You can see the roles, I'm not going to read them out. And then the weapon, I've left them talentless, apart from obviously the named weapons will come with their individual talents. And like I said, it's 60% crit chance, 176 crit damage, or 171, depending if the weapon has 3 or 4 mod slots. Anyway, just to recap, on this build, this is where the weapons stood without a talent across the board. Green is to note that they've moved up, red is to denote that they moved down. The left hand listing is what they were at base. The one to the right is what they are with a build. This is new sexy shiny spreadsheet. Just to show you what I have done, we have Manic, all weapon damage is 1, spec is 15, weapon is 15, total weapon damage is 25 from Vigilance, 176 crit damage, headshot damage is 0.9 for 90%, 8% damage to armor, 18% damage to targets out of cover, and a 0.3 multiplier for perfect last cannon. Now there will be slight changes in some of these, such as Shield Splinterer. That is capable of hitting 1.4 in all weapon damage due to Perfect Optimist. I won't lie, I have no idea how to calculate Optimist, so I put 1.2 in, thinking that's halfway and should give a rough-ish guide. Once I learn how to calculate Optimist, I will do a follow-up video with Savage Wolverine. Killing an enemy within 7 meters gives you 38% weapon damage. So Wolverine, all weapon damage is 1.38. Pyromaniac again. We're assuming the talent is active, so enemies that are on fire will receive an increase of 25% more damage, so all weapon damage is 1.25. Test subject with perfect in sync. This can give you up to 40%, so that's 1.4. And then the final change will be Kingbreaker, which if you look in AMP 2, you'll see 0.2. That's because Flatline is an amplifier, so that's where that will go. Now again, I need to stress that these are not going to be accurate for the builds you would typically run on them. For example, who in their right mind is running a DPS build with Mechanical Animal? You'd probably just use a FAMAS with Future Perfect. You'd be better off. Same with Test Subject. You're not really going to use that on a non-skill build styled build. Like you could basically say the same for all of these weapons. These are the sort of weapons where you wouldn't put on just a standard DPS build. You would make a build around them. However, if you were interested in what they would do on a DPS build, I've got you covered. So, up top we have Kingbreaker with 10.7 mil. On a typical high-end spotter build, this will drop by 8%. On a typical Heartbreaker build, this will go up by 3%. Savage Wolverine, you probably could actually make do with that weapon on this. However, you would have to be within 7 meters of an enemy with Perfect Last Cannon. Despite the fact that I am an avid Perfect Last Cannon fan, do not recommend. Then we have just a normal FAMAS with Killer on. So that should give you a rough idea of the level of DPS we're looking at. Then we have Test Subject. This actually quite surprised me. And for people that engage in PvP, I just want to point out, maybe Test Subject could be of use somewhere, somehow. I don't know. I'm an idiot when it comes to PvP. Then we have Pyromaniac with 9.7 mil, Shield Splinterer with 9.6. Like I said though, I have no idea how to calculate Optimist accurately. If you put in the full 1.4, this would be second. But then you only get that 1.44, literally one bullet. Burnout, obviously, reloading from empty gives you 40% weapon handling. So this could actually be potentially good on like a striker's focus build rather than going fast hands. Try Burnout. And then obviously just a normal FAMAS with no talent, just to sort of show Burnout and FAMAS are the same. And then Invisible Hands coming in clutch at a higher rate than what I thought it would be. Then we have a personal favourite of mine, Rail Splitter. Despite the fact that this weapon is clearly quite low on this list, comparative to other weapons, it's really actually not that bad. But the thing that will come in clutch for you is the accuracy bonus. It doesn't feel like much, it doesn't look like much, but when you're able to get more consistent headshots at like 20, 25, sometimes even 30 meters, the difference in damage between a Rail Splitter and even a FAMAS clearly shows at that range. Mechanical Animal is a weapon I very rarely use, just because even Perfect, Future Perfect, or whatever it's called, all it is an increase in the time duration that the skill tier lasts for. Manic is unsurprisingly quite near the bottom. However, I will have to do another one of these, probably just do it in a full one-er, like one big video, probably be like over 30 minutes again. But Manic, when it comes to sustained DPS, is watch this space. And then Glory Days. Glory Days is probably one of the only ARs that I refuse to touch outside of Iron Horse Raid, just because of the effect it has on your chem launchers. If you don't know, a lot of weapon talents, including Glory Days, the reload from Chatterbox, Burnout, I believe, is another one. There's a few others that the talent affects your chem launcher. So yeah, bit weird. You have like 100% increase in stability on your chem launcher. So if you want to fire your oxidizers across the map, yeah, Glory Days is the way to go. Just going to put these side by side and kind of break them down. So Kingbreaker, Savage Wolverine, obviously FAMAS with Killer, Test Subject and Pyromaniac all beat a FAMAS at base. As does Shield Splinter, and I'm keeping this one separate because Shield Splinter is weird. There's something going on with it, and we'll leave it there for now because I haven't figured it out. Burnout, FAMAS, obviously, that's where the list on the left-hand side starts. We then have Invisible Hand, which would put it above a base TKB. But then if you give a TKB a talent, it shoots below. Row Splitter is, well, it's actually in the exact same place as CTAR anyway. Mechanical Animal is going to be the exact same as the SIG 556 because they're the same weapon. Manic is going to be the same as the AKM Black Market because it's the same weapon. The only difference between them is Manic on the third reload is going to get one hell of a sustained DPS boost because it's going to have a 100 round mag. And then finally, Glory Days is in the exact same place as the P416. Again, it's the same weapon. So hopefully this breaks down some of the named ARs and where everything fits in. That pretty much does it for this video. Hopefully I've covered up enough of me dying and sucking with spreadsheets. And hopefully see you again soon. Good luck, have fun, don't die. It's bad for the health.